Well, we'll promise the Waalitj show and what was meant to be a tight contest, but Kuwarna had the upper hand from the very first bounce. Welcome to Kuwarna Live. I'm your host, Monique Vanderheyden. Tonight we're going to take you through all the questions you've sent through on the text line and what was a fantastic win over the Eagles. The boys have been down the room celebrating what is a vital win for them in this season. They've been hearing from Nixie, where he's probably been singing their praises for the last 40 minutes or so. But we're going to head straight down to the ground where we're going to hear from the skipper, Jordan Dawson, after what was a fantastic game from him.
Jordan, some people thought this was maybe a 50-50 game, given what the Eagles did to the D's last week. How did you pull off such a dominant victory?
Oh, we knew that. It was definitely a danger game. They've been playing some super footy, and last sort of month they've been one of the top teams in terms of their contested ball and that sort of stuff. So scouting them, they play a similar brand to what we play. So after a pretty impressive win last week, we knew they'd come out firing. So I think we knew from the start, especially with the home crowd, we had to bring our energy and our effort, and I feel like our run two-way was really impressive, and yeah, I mean, we got off to a great start, which helps. We knocked over our goals too.
Yeah, well, instead it was you guys who came out firing. Was there a bit of pent-up anger from last week's narrow loss? Because that's what it looked like.
I think so. I mean, naturally you're on edge a bit more when you have those tight losses during the week, and we knew we probably let one slip. I mean, Collingwood are a great team, and we felt like we had opportunities to win that, so it was frustrating, but you got to move on pretty quick because it's such a tight competition, and on any day, any team can beat you. So we knew the Eagles coming here that they were going to be tough competition, so we knew we wanted to start well.
Did you feel that extra responsibility to set the tone as skipper, because you were just electric in that first quarter?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've got to pride myself on defensively getting up and down the ground and working back for the backs. So I really wanted to set the tone in that area, and I was lucky to get on the end of a couple, but I feel like as a group our defence and our team defence was awesome, and that always sets the tone for us, along with our kind of pressure around the ball in our contests.
Yeah, how are you managing the mid-forward split? Because I think the only time you went a bit quiet was the start of the second term when you went forward and the Eagles kicked a few goals down the other end. Yeah,
I like it. I mean, it gives guys opportunity as well, like Rash and Ranks when he's been playing a bit, and got to add a few streaks to my bow as well, get a bit deeper forward and test them out as well. So I do enjoy it. It's always good to get back in the mid, but I think I've kind of, a few of my old teammates like Isaac Heaney and those guys, Chad Warner, they're guys that I look up to and want to kind of play like. So I love how they've been able to hit the scoreboard. So for me, I want to try and do that as a mid and put a bit of pressure on the opposition when I go forward.
That's interesting. What are you taking away from watching the likes of Heaney and Warner?
They're just unbelievable talents, but they're... I think their hunt for the ball and contest is what stands out, and training with those guys for many years, it was always impressive to see the way they go about it. So it's no surprise they're dominating week in, week out, just the way they go about it. So definitely their kind of forward craft along with their mid stuff is really impressive, and it's what I want to add to my game as well.
Waalitj may have learned a few lessons off you today. You got up close and personal at times, maybe in that third quarter had a few words. What were your impressions of the #1 pick?
Oh, he's got a lot of swagger, and we knew after last week we knew we had to be on our game, and we tried to be somewhat physical with him, but he just brushes it off. He's a pretty impressive young kid, and he's going to be a tough matchup coming up in the next 10 years. I won't be around in 10 years, but for the people hanging around for the next 10 years, it'll be tough to beat. So I love the way he goes about it, to be honest. He's a very impressive young man, and yeah, we wanted to be physical, but he just shrugs it off.
Well, we love the way you go about it too. Well done today.
Thank you. Cheers.
What a show it was watching Waalitj and the skipper Jordan Dawson going at it there in that final half of that game, and I feel like you could watch those two match up for most of the game, and Jordan Dawson had a fantastic performance tonight, and we're going to take a look at some of his highlights and some of the other highlights from the first half now. And his performance is just one of many of the last couple of weeks where we've seen him return to some fantastic form that we saw him in last year. 32 disposals from him tonight, 9 marks. We did see him move up forward in the second term where he was a little bit quieter. West Coast did try to tag him with Kelly and Yo as well, but he just bounced back in the second half, and he's just such a dominant performance. You can tell the rest of the boys are always looking for him for leadership, and a beautiful hand pass off to him there, and a beautiful goal from just outside 50. I don't know who was trying to defend him, but you never want to leave Jordan Dawson with much space because he'll punish you with a beautiful goal just like that. But Adelaide was just brilliant tonight, especially in their transition from defence as well. It's something they've always been really good good at, but tonight they were able to quite easily spread the Eagles' zone and play quite an easy kick mark game right through the middle of the ground. Mostly uncontested as well. So if we're looking at some of those stats tonight, it was absolutely clinical from the Crows. 198 disposals, inside 50 efficiency was 68-40, but uncontested possessions 126 to 54. So absolutely dominant by them. Quick question here from Karen, though, there on our text line of why was Saligo subbed? He's not injured. We don't need to worry about our star boy. He's had a fantastic year, but he didn't have much of a pre-season. It's something to remember as well. So very rarely do you get a game like this where there's such a lead and you've got a chance to rest some of your star players, but Nixie was just trying to give him a bit of a break tonight. So nothing to worry about there, that's for sure. Another question here from Bill of, can we play the Eagles every week? God, wouldn't that be nice, Bill? Absolutely would love to see that. But what tonight's game does do is give us a very handy percentage boost for the second half of the year. It's another, hopefully, easy games the next few weeks, although Sydney is looming coming up. But if we can get a couple of wins the next few weeks, they'll put us in a pretty good set for the second half of the year. But we're going to head back down to the rooms. We're going to hear from Lockie Scholl after what was a brilliant game from him tonight.
So after a disappointing loss last week, how pleasing was it to bounce back and get the win this week? Yeah, obviously we were so close last week against a quality opposition, and this week was no different. We knew obviously West Coast were in really good form as well, coming off a really strong win off Melbourne last week. So we knew what was coming, and yeah, thankfully we were able to put together a good team performance. And how did you see your own game today? Were you particularly pleased with how you played? Yeah, it was obviously pleasing to, I suppose, get a little bit of it and hit the scoreboard, but at the same time that comes off, you know, your role and sticking to that. So the boys, especially in the midfield tonight, were incredible and makes our job as outside players and wingers or you know, positions alike to get shape and trust that. So all the boys were awesome. Yeah. And there was a real spread of goal kickers tonight, and I guess like a willingness to share the footy. How pleasing was that to see tonight? Yeah, really good. I think we came in with a bit of a focus of, you know, team first and you know, giving the first option and yeah, I suppose trying to share the load around a little bit, and I think we were able to do that tonight, and there was a real, as you said, a real even spread of goal kickers, so that was really pleasing. Yeah. And Harry Schoenberg, back in the team tonight, kicked a goal. Tell me about him and what it meant to have him come back into the side. Oh, it was awesome. Obviously, it gave the boys a huge lift, especially when he went back and kicked that goal. That was awesome. But he's that's came from months of hard work. He's you know, put in the hard yards in rehab and has not put a foot wrong. So no, we're all really stoked for him. And some of the younger guys, Luke Nankervis and Braden Cook, really stepped up tonight as well. How good is that to see? Yeah, obviously there's been huge development across the board as a whole squad, really, and those boys are, you know, playing some really good footy at the moment, and I mean, it's all about development as well and continuing to work, and those boys are certainly, I suppose, putting together a really strong season, and hopefully they can keep going with it.
What a fantastic game from that young man there tonight. Lockie Scholl, he's been in and out of the side over the first half of this season, but he's definitely put in a pretty good case tonight for him to hold his spot. 34 disposals from him in a brilliant performance from really the whole team. We've got a question here from Claire. That would have been the best game Scholl has played, and I couldn't agree with you. And we'll throw some second half highlights here so you can take another look at him and some of these youngsters who really stepped up tonight. He was one of many who really found their form over the last couple of weeks, but especially tonight. Fogarty's another one who's been playing brilliantly the last couple of nights. And one thing that Lockie mentioned there when he was just chatting with us was the spread of goal kickers. A lot of concern coming in tonight about Isaac Rankin not being able to play for the next few weeks, out with that hamstring injury picked up against Collingwood. But no Isaac, no problem, seems to be the look after tonight. Had Chase Jones kicking 3 goals. It's the most goals he's ever gotten in a game. Another question here from David here. Do you like us against the Hawks next week? Well, look, if we keep kicking like we were tonight, then I don't think it'll be a problem, David. But the Hawks have also been in some brilliant form. They managed to get over the Brisbane Lions today. And I think if you're comparing the Crows with the Hawks, we're both at very similar spots in the season, very similar amount of wins to loss ratio. So I think it's going to be a very interesting contest to see how that plays out. And it'll be very vital to both teams in the rest of this season. Angus here, I really like the way that our defence is coming to I think you're spot on there, Angus. I think the Crows have had a lot of outs in terms of their defence. Also got Nick Murray, who's on the verge of thankfully coming back, but the youngsters have really had to step up all this season, and we had Josh Worrell go out with an injury a couple of weeks ago now, which definitely would have sent a bit of a shiver down the spine, but those younger boys have really stepped up and improved themselves, and you could tell there was a lot of hunger coming into tonight after that 1-point loss against Collingwood, and one of those players who just really stepped up was Luke Nankervis as well. It's just that chase and that pressure from those younger boys, which was really impressive to see. Nankervis, I believe, he was chasing down Ryan at some point in the first quarter, and it was that first, that second, and then that third effort that eventually resulted in the Crows getting a goal, which is fantastic to see. Mac here with another question from the text line. With a bit of luck, we could have won 6 in a row. Yep, you're spot on. But that's the way footy goes sometimes, Mac. Unfortunately, you don't win them all. But the important thing to see is that Kuwarna has been close in most of those games where it hasn't gone their way. They've just fell short. One extra call, one extra goal, and things could have gone our way. So who knows where the rest of the season could go. Hopefully with a couple more wins in the next few weeks, then it could be possible that we do get on top. We do need to have a quick chat though about Harley Reid. Fantastic player that the Eagles do have there, but Kuwarna did a great job at shutting him down, especially for the first quarter. Bit of criticism their way about how much Dacos was allowed to get most of the ball last week. I think he still ended up with over 40 disposals, but Reid only had 5 in the very first half and then 8 in that third quarter. So he definitely came alive a bit. It felt at times that he was the only player out there for West Coast. But the Crows at the end of the day did a fantastic job reining in who probably will be the rising star of this year. Another question here from Cooper. I am a Crows fan, but I love the way Harley Reid has a crack. Don't we all? I think we all love to watch him. It would be fantastic if Kuwarna could get him on our side. Who knows? I think the West Coast will be pretty quick to lock him down though. But we're going to head straight down back into the rooms. We've got Adam Kelly, who's had given us a bit of time to have a chat with us.
All right, Adam, what are your initial thoughts on the game?
Oh, look, we're really pleased. It was a really complete performance. We were particularly wary of West Coast. They've been in terrific form, especially over recent weeks. So to get the win and for it to be comprehensive and complete was a really pleasing outcome.
And what was the messaging from Nixie in the team meeting, and what were the main takeaways from the game from him?
Yeah, look, we were really chasing a strong four-quarter performance, and after we got off to that good start, the messaging was around being really ruthless with the way we approached the final 3 quarters of the game, and to the players' credit, they never really took their foot off the pedal. So to have strong contributors right across the game, right across all lines, was a really pleasing performance and one of our, I guess, signature performances this season.
And Jordan Dawson, he was very, very good early. What does it mean to the team to, I guess, have such a leader at the club? Yeah,
I think when your on-field leader really takes that initiative early in the game and sets the example for his teammates, as you would have seen, they all followed from his example. So yeah, that's what you want from your leaders. You want them in the big moments when the game's there to be won, to really step up, and that's what we love about Geordie, and he does that each and every week, and he really set us alight in that first quarter tonight.
And were there any other players in particular that caught your eye that you were really happy with tonight?
Yeah, I think Darcy Fogarty's had an outstanding game. I think he had 19 disposals, kicked a couple of goals, I think 10 score involvements. Chase Jones off a wing, kicking 3. Lockie Scholl on the other wing had a really strong game. Like, you could basically run through the team, and I think that's the most pleasing thing tonight, is that right across all 3 lines we had contributions from all 23 players who took to the field.
And Hawks next week, how quickly does the attention turn to them? Yeah,
look, we seem to be coming up against opponents that are in really good form, and the Hawks have been really good and good again today. It'd be nice for us to get a win on the G. In Nixie's time, we haven't had a win on the G. We've been very close on a number of occasions. We'll set ourselves, and we love being there, we love playing there, and Hawks will be a tough opponent, but hopefully we can get across the line.
Adam Kelly there speaking about what was a brilliant game from Kuwarna tonight. One word that he used there, which I really love, is ruthless, and they were tonight. They have been for the last few weeks. Kuwarna is currently sitting, I believe, second in the comp in terms of their pressure. If they can bring that pressure into the next few weeks, Hawthorn, Richmond back at home in a couple of weeks, and then the Sydney Swans. And although Sydney may be sitting top of the ladder, looking quite pretty at the moment, they don't play that well against Adelaide, especially when it's at home. So the season is still well and truly alive. But that's all we have time for tonight on Kuwarna Live. If you want a bit more Adelaide Crows content, don't forget to check out the Crow Show on Sundays. But we'll be back for Richmond in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for your company.